people, can I get a hello? Welcome to another episode of the Hello Effect Podcast. With me, your host, Zeke, aka Mr. Hello. All my people, can I get a hello? Hey, yo, welcome back to another episode of the Hello Effect Podcast. And today I got a special guest, you know what I mean? Yes, another person from Jersey. She's a comedian by the name of Monique Latise.
Yeah.
How you doing? Welcome to the Hello Effect Podcast.
Hey.
How you doing today? How's your Sunday going so far?
It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Yes.
I know I'm tired of the rain. I'm tired of the snow. I'm tired of all this bipolar weather.
I know.
You know what I mean? So I'm happy finally to get some cool weather where I can wear this nice little fleece
For
without
real.
having to have a hoodie or a scarf on or whatever. All right, so for people that don't know who you are, you know what I mean? Just let them know who you are, what's your profession, what you pursuing, and where you trying to take this thing.
Okay. So my name is Monique Latise. I am a stand-up comedian. I born and raised in Paterson, New Jersey. I'm a mother, grandmother. I started comedy 15 years ago. And I wasn't the typical class clown. I wasn't the typical person that's like, oh, I'm funny. So comedy kind of came at me a different way. But once I got up in there, I knew what time it was. And not that I think I'm the funniest, but it's just where I belong.
Oh, that's what's up. So you said it came up in a different way. Explain that. Like,
well, I kind of feel like my life came, it was a little like I was always sad, always, just like my earlier years, like my 20s and my 30s, even my teen years was kind of like sad years to me. I was like, I'm an only child, always sitting in my room. I used to want to be a dancer, right? A rapper and a dancer, hip hop. I was into hip hop.
oh, I'm about to say, be specific. What type of dancer you talking about? Because you got.
I was into hip hop.
Okay.
Because I grew up, with the Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, and I'm from Paterson. I don't know if you know anything about Paterson, but like everybody came through Paterson. Like you got King's Son, you got a diva who wasn't hip hop, but she was music. And Paterson has the strong musical history.
I never knew that, to be honest, because I'm born and raised in North, and I don't really know too much about I know a little bit about Paterson. When I think of Paterson, to be honest with you, I don't think of black people. I think of Spanish, because there's a lot of Latinos that's in Paterson.
It is.
You understand what I'm saying?
But let me tell you something. Paterson is the baby Newark. I promise you. There's a lot of people come.
Okay.
We got producers from Paterson. We got Big Draws Entertainment. They roll for Beyonce, Destiny's Child, Charlie Wilson. Like we got a lot of musical history in Paterson, and so I've always been attracted to the lifestyle of music and entertainment. I just didn't know how I was gonna get there. Like I knew these people, but I wasn't the popular one, so I didn't know how to get to them. And I just in my head I would just think about, when I get the chance, it's on. I just need that one chance. And, the chance never happened back then. So I kind of put the entertainment, to the side and became a mother. And, it was rough because my mother had me young. So how I was parenting my kids was kind of weird because my mother was super strict on me. And I was kind of lenient with my kids. So my son got into a little trouble. And actually, he was always in trouble. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? This is just my life. The school calls me every day. I'm always running up and down to the school. So it was kind of like sad. And then I was married and divorced. The typical everyday stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So that happened. But in my head, I always loved, like when company would come over, I would do the games, I would do this, I would do that. So I always loved entertainment. I just didn't know how to get there. So long story short, I was in the barbershop one day. And one of the guys that would go to the barbershop that I went to, he started doing stand-up. And I was so fascinated by that.
Boy, is he funny, though? That's the question.
I mean, it didn't even matter to me. I was fascinated that he had one career and now he's doing something else. It just blew my mind. Because I'm like, in real life, you can really do something different. I thought like whatever your job is, that's what you just stuck with. So when he was driving for transit and then he dropped off the a manager at Caroline's, and like that was one of his passengers. So that person put him on.
Oh, that's what's up.
And he called, and so we will be in the barbershop, for years, always going back and forth, talking about relationships, this and this and that. So one day I'm in the shower and I'm like crying, like, I have at this point I have been on my job 28 years and I think like 18, and they were stressing me out. When you work in corporate, 1 minute they like you, next minute they don't.
That's true. I agree with that.
And, it was like, you got, as a single mom, I had to go above and beyond. I didn't have a college degree, so I really had to come to work and really show up. And it was stressful, if I can be honest. I didn't like nothing.
I understand that, for sure. Especially being a single parent doing it by yourself and stuff like that. So.
And, I knew I had to stay there because I needed to, feed my children. So I would come there and just be doing dumb shit just to stay at the job. And then one day I'm in the bathroom and I'm like, God, I'm tired, I'm tired. My son is, he was doing whatever he was doing at the time. My girls were, they didn't get me in trouble, but my son's trouble was like weighing on me. And then the job was like weighing on me. And I'm like, this too much, bro, this too much. And as I'm crying in the bathroom, I'm literally saying to God, I'm done. Like, I can't do no more. Like, I don't know what else to do to make my life better. And my phone rang. And I was like, I wasn't even going to answer it. And I'm like, hello? And the guy was like, yo, I'm putting on an all-female comedy show. I want to put you on. I'm like, for what? Like, for what? Like, I'm not funny. There's nothing funny. I'm mad right now. He was like, nah, bro, you need to be on this show, for real. And I'm like, well, explain to me why you feel this way. Because that wasn't a thought of mine.
Hold up. So you never did nothing before this moment you about to explain? Like, far as like any talent shows or something like that?
I had a business. Well, I was always in talent shows. I was, singing, dancing, rapping. I wanted to be in entertainment.
Work.
I didn't want to be telling no jokes.
You trying to break in the music industry.
Right. I didn't know any comedians to call. Like, how you get there? What does it look like? I didn't know any of that crap.
Okay.
But I knew music. Like, I felt music. I just loved music. And it's gonna all tie in together.
Okay.
Because that's how good God is. So he was like, yeah, you need to be on this show. And I'm like, well, I don't know how. I don't got nothing to talk about. He said, well, think about it and let me know by Monday. And I'm like, and when he said it to me, actually, I got really upset. Like, I thought he was trying to be funny. I'm like, this nigga trying to play me? Like, like, what's funny? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk to my pastor about it because at this time I was on the choir at my church. And I said, I'm going to talk to him about it and see what he say. And he's going to tell me that that's not godly. And that'll be the end of that because I want to do right by God.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that I was perfect, but I just, I thought that I was perfect. I just wanted to be in the will of God. I wanted to do what I was created to do. Yeah. And I felt like it was something to do with creating, like, entertainment, but I didn't know what it looked like. So I called my pastor. I was like, I need to meet you. Somebody's talking crazy. He was like, all right. So I met him down at the church, and I told him what it was. He was like, girl, yeah. I said, Pastor, if I start this comedy, I'm going to be cursing because I was watching Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah,
they was cursing. So I said, I'm going to have to go up there and curse. And then I didn't see any women. I didn't see hardly any black women. I'm like, who am I going to be on stage? He was like, trust me, if you start, God will guide you into where you need to be.
Hold up. So you wasn't afraid of being on stage? You said you did talent shows and stuff like that? So you wasn't
I've always loved the crowds.
Oh, okay.
I've always loved, if I had to battle you in dancing, it was nothing back in the day to do it. Like, I've always been, I can chat, you can, if you want to battle me, whatever.
And you said you was the only child?
Yes.
And that's...
raised as the only child.
I mean, still the same thing. I feel like... Normally, them kids would be like shy, you know what I mean? And
no, I used to do all the entertainment. When my family would come over, I would create plays and I would do poetry. I was in my room. I wouldn't do any homework. I would just be sitting there writing rhymes.
Kids, do your homework.
Yeah, but you know what though? Honestly, parents, if your child is not into education like you feel like they should be, find out what they're into.
That's true.
Support them.
That's true.
And that's the one thing I will say. Like, even though I wasn't into schoolwork, if I had done more creative projects in school, I would have, it would have been different for me. But my mother, she was, and I'm not knocking her, but she was focusing on the grades. And I just wasn't interested. I wanted to write poems and, just talk my junk. That's what I wanted to do. So Where was I? I was saying,
all right, so you were saying about you had talked to the pastor.
Talked to my pastor, and I was like, listen, someone is suggesting that I do comedy, and I'm not really interested, but what do you think? And he was like, I think you should absolutely give it a shot. So I was like, all right. So by the time I called the guy back to tell him that I was going to give it a shot, he had already put me on the flyer.
Damn.
And sent me the flyer.
So no was not an answer.
No wasn't an answer. So when he sent me the flyer, honestly, I got chills. I couldn't believe it. That was my first time seeing myself on the flyer in comedy. So I'm like, oh my God. So I started sending it to my relatives, like, what y'all think? What y'all think? This crazy. I don't got nothing to talk about. I'm scared. They was like, Mo, you should have been doing this, like, for real.
So they been found you funny or whatever. It's something that you can't see. It's normally like that, though. The thing, that's why I feel like you need somebody to be on your team to see things that you can't see. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, it's crazy because and it took me years to even want to perform in front of my family because I just didn't believe it. You know, and most people, they get into comedy and they like, you know, I think I'm funny. So I'm going to go and do these open mics and you don't think I'm funny? I think I'm funny. You don't think I'm funny? But me, I had to learn how to be funny. I mean, I knew how to entertain. I was always a talker. But I'm talking about funny where I want it to be the kind of funny where women see me and they can relate to my funny. I wanted women, and I knew I was because you have to find out who you are in comedy. Yeah. You got to know what lane you want to be in. So I knew, you know, they say, you know, the darkest pieces of you is where you find the most funny. And because I was having so much problems as a mother, I felt like, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to talk about motherhood. And then that just grew into a lane where women saw me and they like, you know what, I can relate
to it, yeah.
So 3 years into comedy, my son goes to prison.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And I'm sorry to hear that too, but it turned out to be like the best thing that happened to my career.
Damn, speak on that if you don't mind.
Of course. My son, he's home now. He's doing well.
Congratulations to that, though.
Yes, shout out to my son. He's also a father.
That's what's
great
up.
Father. But him going to prison helped me heal. It kind of, sometimes you got to have your house tore down to rebuild it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when he went to prison. I had never been alone. My daughters were in college. I had never been alone. So I got a chance to sit in the mud by myself and to dissect my whole life. And I got a chance to redo my life. Who gets that? Who gets a whole chance to heal as a mother and to become this comedian? And I believe if my son was still out on the street doing some of the things he was doing, I wouldn't have been able to concentrate. I never even said that out loud. I would not have been able to concentrate. But God gave me the space. He covered my son, you know, and that was a big thing for me. I didn't want my son to feel like I abandoned him. But I also, I'm the kind of mother, though, I ain't co-signing nothing you doing that ain't in alignment with God. I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah, that's true.
But on the same token, God allowed me to still be living when he came out doing 2 bids. That's rare.
Yeah.
That's rare. And he tells me every day, he said, Ma, I love you so much. And I'm saying, and that's sometimes I be like, because I'm not used to that. I had to relearn how to be around him again, if I can be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
because he was gone for 10 years altogether. He did 2 bids. And I was by myself for 10 years doing comedy. My girls started their life already. So I kind of was selfish for 10 years.
Yeah.
So every day he'll be like, Ma, I love you so much. And I'm like, well, tell me why you love me. Like, why? He said, I'm going to be honest with you, Ma. He said, most of the guys that I was in prison with, their mother wasn't alive by the time they came home. But you still here and you're doing what you love and it makes you a happier person. Because when he left, I was a sad mom, crying, felt defeated. I was lonely. I was single. You know what I mean? But comedy gave me life. Like, I know I was supposed to come and bring the funny to it, but honestly, it created me. It chased me down and created me and made me the woman that I am. And I learned how to be funny through the pain. I learned how to be funny even when I didn't feel like there was nothing funny. And I just grind. I grind. I was working 2 jobs at the time, and I just put my foot on the gas. I had no plug. There was nobody I could call and be like, yo, get me at Caroline's, get me at Broadway Comedy Club, get me here. Nah, it was just showing up.
It's being consistent and continue to grind and stuff like that.
Yes.
So what happened, like, let's talk about that first opportunity you had though. How did that go? Because I'm just thinking about stage fright. I'm just thinking about like, damn, they gonna think I'm funny.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
It ain't for the week, bro. It ain't for the week.
So what happened?
So that first show was canceled.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
and I was so glad. I was so glad.
Sorry to hear that.
I was so glad.
You had me stressing, shitting bricks for nothing.
It was canceled. I was so glad.
Okay.
But it stirred up something in my spirit where I couldn't let it go. I was like, all right, I gotta find some way to perform that.
Yeah.
So my daughter found me an open mic in Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Shout out to Bloomfield.
September 21st, I think it was. Okay. I woke up that morning and I said, I'm going to the open mic tonight. I walked in. True story. I was so nervous that I was like crying. Like I was like, this is crazy. What am I doing? My kids are, they need, because my son hadn't gotten in trouble at the time. Like he was still, I was like, my kids need me. This is crazy. Because I knew that if this thing is what God called me to do, I was going ham. I knew it. So I didn't really want to play with it. I'm like, God, if this is not really what you want me to do, please don't play with me with this. And I went to the open mic, and it was two sisters at the bar. It was an all-white bar. And I walked up to these women, and I was like, girl, I'm about to do stand-up for the first time. And they was like, oh, my God. They just went crazy. They went so crazy that they had me thinking like, oh, word? And they was like, well, we was going to leave, but we going to stay now. So I'm like, okay, now I'm really nervous.
You got two fans off the bat.
But now I'm real nervous. I'm like, oh. But they brought me a Long Island iced tea. That was the first time I had a Long Island iced tea.
What that Long Island iced tea do?
Shit. I got up there and was talking my shit. So they got me to like iced tea, and they was like, you could do it, sis. And they just gave me black sister power, and they was like, you got this.
See, we need that type of support.
Yeah,
for real.
And I think that's why I'm such a woman's comedian. Like, if you come to my show, oh, the women going, yes. I have the women leaving there like, yes. I mean, the men like it too. They be like, oh, okay. But the women, I make us feel amazing, especially the big girls. You know what I mean? So
watch out for the big girl.
Watch out for the yes. Because I don't know why people think that big women can't be sexy. Are you kidding me?
Talk it.
Like, listen, we are the sexiest on the planet. Listen.
Talk about it. I'm talking about it.
Yes. Yes, we are sexy. We are. And sexiness is not what you wear. It's not how you look. It's how you feel.
And how you carry yourself.
Yes,
ma'am.
So I love representing for the big girls. I mean, I be trying to lose weight, but I be like, all right, guy, you must want this to stick. Because everybody else getting tummy tucks, everybody else getting lipo and is having surgeries. I'm the last big girl standing. So I'm going to represent us well.
Let them know.
Yes.
Let them know. No shade to Lizzo, but I'm just saying.
She look good too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm curvy. Like, I'm big, but I'm curvy big. I ain't just big and wide. You know what I mean?
Talk about it.
So anyway, that's another conversation.
All right.
So let's focus on the comedy.
Yeah. All right.
You sweating? Get him some tissue. Relax. Pat your forehead. All right.
All right. So let's talk about, like, you went on stage and it was a success. Like,
that first time was like a hit. It was like that first time. It's like letting that guy smash that you've been wanting to hit for a while. You've been watching him, and you just.
I don't know about guys.
I'm speaking. Well, ladies, I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
You've been watching this guy for a minute, and there's something that you just got, something, and you just let him smash that one time.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I knew this was it.
You knew it was it.
I knew it was my husband.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So it was a success. So
yeah. So
what happened after that one?
After that, I went to the open mic 4 times. I went back 4 times for 4 weeks. And then the last week, I was walking out. I knew by the time that 4th show, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I'm walking out the door, and somebody grabbed me. And they was like, yo, don't come back here no more.
What they meant by that? You was too good to be there?
They was like, you came already 4 times. It's time for you to go get those shows. And I was like, I don't know where to go. So I searched for another. This is such a dope story. I searched for another open mic, right? And now Broadway Comedy Club comes up. So I'm like, so I don't know anything about Broadway Comedy Club. I don't know anyone there.
I'm about to say that. You mind explaining what Broadway Comedy Club for somebody that's watching?
Right. Broadway Comedy Club is like one of the biggest comedy clubs in New York City. At the time when I was coming into comedy, you had Caroline's.
Wait, I know Caroline's. Yeah.
Yes, you have Caroline's is closed now, but it was like a major, you know, when I was coming in. Then you had Broadway Comedy Club, and there was some other clubs down in the Village. So when I was Googling it, Broadway Comedy Club was the one that came up for the open mic. They had an open mic on Sundays. And I never, you know, I never forget, it was a beautiful day, sort of like this. I took the bus over to the city. I ain't take the bus in years, but I just felt like, you know what, I'm just going to take the bus because I didn't know where I was going. Okay, so I took the bus to the city. I got to the Broadway Comedy Club. I came in early. So the security guard was like, yo, you know, who are you here for? And I'm like, I'm here for an open mic. I'm a comedian. My name is Monique Latise. Now, mind you, I've only been doing open mics like 4 times. Yeah. So he was like, well, the open mic is next door. So, you know, get out of here. You can't stay inside. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was so pissed at how mean he was to me and my daughter.
Yeah,
my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
He was so mean. He said we couldn't wait inside. And he was like, you got to, you know. So I'm outside going off. I ain't come all the way to New York because I'm from Paterson. You know what I mean? Yeah. I ain't come here for this.
Always
I'm trying to do comedy.
Yeah.
You know, because at this time, I'm like, I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I just don't know how it's going to play out. So this white guy comes out of the Broadway Comedy Club. He comes to smoke a cigarette, Italian guy. So I'm talking to my daughter. I'm like, man, that guy, that security was so mean. So the guy said, what's going on? What's up? What's up with you? And I'm like, security guard kicked me out. I'm a comedian. And he was like, you're a comedian? I said, yeah, my name is Monique Latise. He said, oh, why won't you audition for the Beverly Bonner show? I said, well, what's that? He said, come on. He said, come with me. I'll let her know that you're. He said, come with me, and I'll tell her that you have an audition.
Okay.
So me and my daughter looking at each other like, oh snap. So we go past the security guard, and I looked at him like, and I pranced myself. Into the club, and there was all these people there auditioning, and there was a lady in the back, black lady, right? And she yells. So the Italian guy says, Beverly, Monique Latise is here for her audition. So she says, I don't have no audition with no Monique Latise. He said, yes, you do. He said, well, tell her come over here. So I was like, oh, shit. So at this time, I'm like, this shit crazy. I'm like, this kid getting crazy. So I go up to her, and she was mean too. I didn't get my first impression with New York and comedy. People were mean.
I mean, that's we got a bunch
I
of
didn't
people
know.
in.
I didn't know. But I'm like, people are so mean. So I go up to her. I'm like, you know, hi, my name is Monique Latise. I'm a comedian. You know, she was like, well, I don't remember, you know, you signing up for this, but, you know, let me see your headshot. I was like, oh, snap. I had an old baby picture of myself in my pocketbook. I had a long pocketbook. I'll never forget, a long clear bag. Like one of them bags when you worked at Macy's, clear bags. Yeah. My mother had gave me a big baby picture like this big.
Hold up, why would you carry it in your bag?
It was just in my bag. So the lady said, "Let me see your headshot." I didn't know what a headshot was, so I pulled out the baby picture. She was like, man. She was like, "You the funniest bitch on the planet. This shit crazy."
Thought it was a part of the thing. Yeah, that's crazy.
She started showing people, "Look at this bitch, my headshot."
Yeah.
So everybody laughing. I'm getting mad. I'm like, "What the fuck y'all laughing at?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't know what was funny.
Yeah.
So I looked up at the Italian guy. He like,
shut up. Yeah, don't blow your cover and shit.
So she was like, bitch, you funny. You got the position.
Damn.
So she gave me a script right then and there, and I was working for her for a year and a half. Now, that wasn't the plan. So I got tired of coming to New York, driving to New York, looking for a park, you know, and I wanted to do stand-up. I didn't want to do improv. She was an improv.
I'm gonna cut you off, but so that wasn't a paid gig.
No, it was improv. It was
okay.
You know, you would be at the Broadway Comedy Club doing improv acting, which was good. Now I know it was good, but in my mind, I want to get the mic and do some jokes.
Yeah, you want to tell some jokes. Yeah.
So I was just going every Sunday. We had a show, and I was like, I don't want to do this right now. I want to do stand up. So I did it for a year just to give me some stage confidence and connections. And finally, I was like, I sent her an email. I said, listen, I'm a comedian. I want to get some shows under my belt. So I'm going to have to, I won't be coming back to the Beverly Bonner show. She was like, well, hold up. How about if I do a show and I book you as the featured headliner? And I'm like,
oh yeah.
Well, no. I had never headlined. I'm just, but she didn't know that. But I was like, oh, snap. She said, yeah, I'll do a show. I'm going to feature you as the headliner. And, then after that, you can do whatever you want to do. I said, oh, my God. So now I'm worried. Because I was just doing open mics. I wasn't doing headlining spots. So she created the show. I invited like 20 of my family or friends to come and see me headline. Let me tell you something. That was the worst night of my life. No, not on stage.
Okay, all right.
I killed it on stage.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I killed it on stage, and I'm only saying that I killed it because I'm not one of those comedians that say, "Oh, I killed it. I did." No, I'm only saying I killed it because somebody came up to me that night and was like, "You're going to be a star."
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you go by the crowd reaction as far as like you had a successful show?
Let me tell you something. I don't even go by the promoter. Mm-hmm. I don't go by the producer. I don't go by other comedians because we are so hard on each other. Mm. If I'm a rapper, you're a rapper. We at a showcase. You go up first. I want to see what you're doing. What kind of heat you bring?
That's true.
You feel me? Because I'm coming after you. So yeah. I'm not smiling at you. I want to see what you're doing. Comedy's the same thing, but I didn't know. So I would be at a show and comedians be this. And I'm like, why are people so mean?
Yeah, why y'all mean mugging? I'm a nice, friendly person.
Right.
I'm God's child.
Right. I'm like, why? But, I understand it now after doing it so long. That's just the way it is. And you can't worry about, I don't care. Let me tell you something. When I'm on stage, I don't care what kind of face you make at me. Listen, I've done shows where people in the front row, I knew they didn't like me.
Damn.
And in my head, I'm like, ooh, why they in the front row? Put them in the back. And I was going to even tell a couple of promoters, yo, put that person in the back. But I said, nah, I want this. So when you want something, you accept the heat. That's even in relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, I want this relationship work. So what I got to deal with? What we got to put up with? I love you. And that's the same way I feel it with comedy. Like, I love what I'm doing.
But how was it your worst night, though? Explain that. What happened?
Getting people. Okay, so everybody was all excited to see me. But I got to take a sip of. Hold on.
Now, go ahead. Do your thing.
Everybody wanted to see me perform. Mm-hmm. They knew I was going to these shows, open mics, and they felt like I was funny. And they were like, we can't wait to come see you. So this is the night. And I couldn't handle it. I didn't want nobody to come and see me.
What? Why though? What you mean? That's what you wanted though. That's what you worked hard for.
I wanted to work on if I had it my way, mm-hmm. I wanted to work on my craft and then invite you. So when you come, you can see a finished product. I didn't want people to watch me grow. I didn't come off the rip being dope.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You felt like it wasn't ready for everybody to come see at that moment.
No,
let me get in my bag first. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, at all. I had to learn how to be funny. I had to learn how.
But you said you killed it though. So.
But I'm only saying that because that's what was told to me.
But you don't feel that way?
It was painful.
What you mean? I want to know from your point of view how you felt it was painful.
Imagine a front row, all your family there looking, just waiting. Oh, she do comedy? Let me see what she doing.
But I always feel like your family always hard on you, though. That's why I don't really never...
I want none of them. Honestly, I'm going to tell you what I did if I could keep it 100. Let me take another step.
Definitely. I always feel like your family is hard on you, though, regardless.
I sent the text to everybody that bought a ticket. Mm-hmm. I sent the text, a mass text, group text. I said, listen, y'all ain't got to come to my show if y'all don't want to. And I was being kind of mean. Mm. And I didn't really want to be. I just didn't know how to tell them I'm still learning. Be easy on me. I didn't know how to say that. Because, like, my ego wanted to be like, nah, y'all come to see me. You heard? Mm. But the reality was I'm still growing. I didn't know how to say it.
Though, like, cause I feel like comedians never tell us a time that you got booed off a stage. I want to know that time.
Yes.
Was that early on, or was that like in the middle of you feel like, damn, yo, I got this thing right now?
It was 2018. I was 18, years into comedy.
Okay.
18 years in comedy.
Tell me about that day. What happened?
It was at Showtime at the Apollo, amateur night. I came in third place the first round. Mm-hmm. So you know about amateur night, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You stand on line, they choose you, and then you gotta, you're on amateur night. So the first night, I was in third place. That was crazy. My family was there. Lunel was there.
Oh, shout out to Lunel.
Yes, and I was like, on cloud 9 this night. Like I was like, yeah, I made it. The next week was round 2. I thought I was at a regular show. So I come on stage and I'm trying to warm the crowd up. You can't warm up the Apollo. Like, nah, they come with their own. They ready to boo. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I was like, hey, shout out the Apollo, make some noise, they booed me so bad.
Damn.
They booed me so bad that the Sandman didn't even want to come out.
Damn.
He was on the side of the stage like, come out, get off the stage, they booing you. I was shocked. I was hurt.
Damn.
And that was probably one of my worst nights. And when I say worst nights, meaning that, just think about it. Who gets booed at the Apollo? Well, Dave Chappelle got booed at the Apollo. Luther Vandross got booed at the Apollo. Lauryn Hill got booed at the Apollo. So the greats have gotten booed at the Apollo. So now Monique Latise got booed at the Apollo. But to get booed in front of your whole city, everybody in Paterson was there. They had their phones out. They was on live. I was like, turn the cameras off.
Cut the show. It's
right.
over.
They was live. They was live. Yeah. And I think that's the part that made me mad. It wasn't getting booed that made me mad because I'll take a L. That's no problem. Yeah. It's the fact that everybody had their cameras out. I'm like, are you serious? But you know what? I love the story though. Here's the thing. What's life without a good story? Yeah. I don't want to live if I don't have a story to tell. Mm-hmm. So, the Apollo is one of my great stories. I got booed at the Apollo amateur night in front of my family, my city. But guess what? I got back up on the horse and I kept on riding.
Oh, that's what's up. So I'm gonna ask you this question. How is it being a woman that's in a comedy? I know there's a lot of greats and stuff like that, but I feel like they seem to push the males out there more than the females and stuff like that. So can you speak on that? Like this being a woman in comedy?
Okay, so let me first start by saying I love being a woman in comedy. Okay. I love being a black woman in comedy. Okay. I think I represent us well. I think I tell stories that we all can relate to. So I'm proud to be here in this, game with this journey I have. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, a lot of people don't think women are funny. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, and they have said it to me, a lot of people won't let us headline. A lot of people don't think we're funny. A lot of times black women comedians, not even just black, women comedians get overlooked. Mm-hmm. And I see it. I see it all the time. And the more I do it, the more I see it. And this is why I opened up my own comedy club. Like I was one of the first black female comedians to have her own comedy club. And I did it because I wanted to prove that we make an impact in comedy. We come with stories, we come with ambitions, we have goals, and we can do anything just like the guys can do it. Yeah. So that was my plan from day one. Mm-hmm. So even though there are challenges being a woman in comedy, I love representing and showing up for us, and I will continue to do that. And guess what? You can't deny everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They can't deny everything. Mm-hmm. So, just keep showing up. That's all we could do.
Oh, that's what's up. So what's the future for Monique? Like, where do you see yourself in the next few years as far as like the comedy thing? And do you just want to stick to comedy or like acting? And like you said early on in the conversation, you said music. Is that something that we can see in your future?
Yes, I love music. I still, I would love to produce music. I want to get into directing. I'm a writer as well. I love to write. I have sitcoms that's just waiting to be birthed. I have commercials that's waiting to be birthed. There's so much, that I'm ready to do. I'm just ready to get with a creative team that can help me produce some of the things that I want to produce. And I tell anybody, you got to be around people who are smarter than you, who are more skilled than you. You can't be around people and you're the GOAT because you'll never get anywhere.
That's true.
So I'm looking for people that know more, that do more, that don't mind saying, come on, sit in on this conversation. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. So, far as what you got coming out, what can we expect for you? Like the projects, you got any tours, you got any shows? Like what's coming up?
So I'm trying to do a fundraiser for my documentary. I want to do a documentary of my life, and I'm trying to raise money to do the documentary because it's gonna cost some money. Okay. Because this is not something I just want to throw up on YouTube. This is something that I want to sit down and direct and tell my story. I want to tell my story. Okay. And I have a great story, and I think it should be told. So I want to do my documentary. I'm on tour right now. I have a tour called Now or Never, and I did upstate New York and I did Delaware, both sold out shows. And I produced it and headlined it myself. Congratulations! And thank you. And my next stop is headlining at the Broadway Comedy Club. Yeah. The Stress Factory Comedy Club in New Jersey. And this is a big deal for me because there's not a lot of black women. There's not a lot of women that headline major comedy clubs like this. Stress Factory is one of the biggest comedy clubs in the tri-state area, not even just New Jersey. So I've done almost every place in New Jersey. I've performed everywhere, all over New Jersey. And I'm just asking for New Jersey to come out and show out. Because I want the crowd to be so loud that the owners of this club say, why haven't we had her here? Why doesn't she have a whole weekend? Why we just gave her a day? We need to give her 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and 1 Sunday. That's a real headliner comedy weekend. That's what I'm striving for. But in the meantime, you got to brick by brick. You got to do one step at a time. So I'll take the Sunday. I'll take May 4th and do my thing. But the goal is to travel the U.S., even, outside of the U.S., and do a whole weekend of comedy.
That's what's up. Name some of the legends that you might know that you had shared the stage with.
Okay, that's a good question. So I've done shows with D.L. Hughley. I've done shows with Bill Bellamy. Shout out to Bill. Joe Clear. Shout out to Joe Clear. And there's so many legends that's actually from New Jersey that did Def Comedy Jam that I'm actually good friends with, and I want to shout them out. You got Hamburger, comedian Jay. You got Cool Bubba Ice, and those are my talent. Those are my friends.
Oh, that's what's up. I just want to give you a flowers. You know what I mean? I want to say, first of all, thank you for coming up, you know what I mean, doing an interview, you know what I mean? Thank you for just being a great human, a great mom, you know what I mean? Especially after hearing your story, you know what I mean, going through all these things, you know what I mean? I'm happy that your son home, and I pray that he continue to stay home, you know what I mean? Because we losing too many, black men and black youth at all-time high. And anybody that's out, that's from Jersey, first and foremost, but anywhere, go support this Queen of Comedy, you know what I mean? She got a show that's coming. When is it? May 4th?
May 4th.
The Stress Factory, and that's in New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Yes.
You know what I mean? She just told you had a few sellouts. Let's make this shit sell out. Respectfully.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm going to definitely go, respect. I'm going to show support, you know what I mean? And hopefully we can have her on the show again, you know what I mean? And hear more about her journey, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, we ain't had that much time, you know what I mean, talk about a lifetime, but I try to make it digestible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for coming on, you know what I mean? And I wish you luck. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure you follow all the socials, the topics and discussions we'll be talking about. This is another episode of The Hello Effect with me, your host, Seek, a.k.a. Mr. Hello. You know what I mean? I hope everybody having a happy holiday.